Yes, Benjamin. Yes, thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Queen. Glad to be here. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Hey, Mama. I like that piece right there. How's everybody? All right.
Singaphahla mhlambe phela ke sifacene enorth sonke then siya repeat nje abajwayeli bayazi Velingman. 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 Anum Kubulwan. Anum Kubulwan. Anum Kubulwan. Ramasit. 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 Angwedi. 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 Kamat. 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 Antu. Antu. Amulibelet. 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 Kapiras. 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 Anpu. 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 Chokozi.
So that you are not shocked and think what's happening. I normally tell them. But I also kneel. And so we are requested to kneel to show respect and homage. So welcome home.
Thank you.
Welcome to a sacred space.
Thank you.
Welcome to a space that has requested the ancestors of the land, the song that they were singing. They were asking their ancestors to open up and welcome everybody on the space. So everybody who's here is a healer in different ways. They heal through the camera, they heal through art, they heal through song. We also heal through hers. So many of us here, we are those people that people think they're not okay because we are woke. We are woke in many ways because they say many are chosen, but very few stay in the lane. It's a very difficult path. It's a path that many of us are still to understand. But we are now in this human form trying to navigate from a spiritual form. And hence you find often before we do anything, we need to sing. We need to pay homage because we are not alone. And we recognize that we are not alone. We are always with our ancestors wherever we go. So we welcome you. So I'm going to hand over to Kulu to also welcome you and tell you more about Isikolo. This is called Isikolo. Yes, Kulu.
We welcome you. I'm not going to say welcome home because it's your home already. You've been here several times. I've had an opportunity to interact with you some time ago. But I'm going to say welcome again because this is your home. And you know, this is a sacred space like what she said. We're trying to reconnect back to nature, you know, which is the foundation of our spirituality. Yes. And we are so inspired to have you guys, you know, promote exactly the same thing because the time has come for Africa to unite.
Yes.
So the only challenge is to find a practical tool that would unite us as African people. So we are happy to Brother Mputi, Nendlovukazi, Ulina, for bringing you here. Because from here we're hoping that the connection that we are having now, it can be sustained so that we develop a program that could unite us. As an example, meeting once a year. You know, like the Chinese, the Jews, everybody is doing. There's got to be that program that mobilizes all African people so that we look back, you know, to Africa as our home. And it needs us for that development. But that development of the Africa of the future can never be grounded on physical matters, on physical things. It has to be grounded by spiritual matters, where we reconnect back, you know, to nature, to go and reactivate our power, our spiritual power. Because the war we are facing, we are not going to defeat it with guns and bombs. We will defeat it with the power of the spirit. So welcome home, and thank you for bringing my lost long sister. Oh man, there's so much history here, and you know we're celebrating Indlovukazi. They were very close. They worked very close with Susan, so I haven't seen her for ages. But you know, today I'm happy she's here. Ndlovukazi, welcome. We have Ndlovukazi, this side who represents Isikolo. Isikolo, we call it, this is like a royal house, you know, in the community. Why? Because we feel that the silence of royal people in terms of being active, in terms of fighting for black people, you know, it's too loud. So we thought it's important for us to reactivate, you know, that royal spirit amongst our people, because we are not Democrats. We are royal people. Royal blood runs in our veins. Thokoze. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thokoze.
We hand over to you. Everybody has been waiting
Ah,
and very excited
sure.
that you are here, and finally you are here, and I think we'll give you the space
Thank you, Mama.
to address.
Aman La.
Wave two.
Mabuye.
Africa.
The Africa.
Mabuye.
Brothers and sisters, it's an honor to be back. It's been 7 long years since my last visit to South Africa. In 2015 and 2016, I did a national tour of South Africa, arranged by some of the brothers and sisters across the country here. And we went all over. Some of you may have not known about it. It wasn't as well publicized as it should have been, but I had a great time. As you remember, back in 2016, our brothers and sisters in the universities of South Africa, they were engaged in the Fees Must Fall struggle.
Sure.
And so my tour coincided with that, and I had a great opportunity to speak with a lot of them. I don't know what came of that, but I hope to learn that during my visit to South Africa this time. A lot has happened in these past 7 years. You know, when I first came to Africa for the very first time, that was back in 2005, I was Minister of Education for the Honorable Marcus Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. And so I'm in Philadelphia at the African American Museum, and me and Dr. Julius Garvey, the younger son of the Honorable Marcus Garvey, we're both speaking at an exoneration program to try and get Marcus Garvey's charges, the unfair and unjust charges levied upon him by J. Edgar Hoover and the American FBI. We were trying to get those removed. And there was a brother by the name of Ezekaway from Washington, D.C. And he approached me at the end of the program and he said, "Have you ever been to Africa?" I said, "No, I'm overdue." He said, "You need to go to Africa." And at the time, we had some UNIA divisions in Africa who were a little discontented with the parent body in America because we weren't reaching out and connecting with them and doing work with them and pulling them into the red, black, and green struggle. And so I came to Africa for 30 days and 30 nights by myself, July 2nd to August the 1st of 2005. I'm bringing this up because I came in through Ethiopia, where I'll be Thursday for African Liberation Day speaking at the African Union headquarters. And I was in Ethiopia for about 2-3 nights. That was my first time setting foot on African soil. And my second location was South Africa. And I spent the week here, my first time on the continent. So South Africa is very special to me because it's one of the first places that I came to when I came back home to Africa 18 years ago. Now I've been all over since then. It's been a long 18 years. And as I stand before you now, I bring a message of solidarity and unity from your brothers and sisters in the United States, from New York to Texas, from California to DC, from Maryland to Alabama, from Mississippi to Georgia. I bring solidarity from your brothers and sisters in the Caribbean islands, from Jamaica to Haiti, from Turks and Caicos to Bermuda, from the Bahamas all the way over to St. Croix and St. Lucia, and even your brothers and sisters in South America, Brazil, and Suriname, and all the places in between. Brothers and sisters, I'm a Pan-Africanist. Many of you are Pan-Africanists. One of the greatest Pan-Africanists of all time from South Africa, Robert Sobukwe, near and dear to my heart in the Pan-Africanist Congress. You understand, I love Robert Sobukwe and the work that he did pushing the Pan-Africanist movement. And brothers and sisters, we have to make Pan-Africanism not only the philosophy and the ideology, we now have to make it the movement that it needs to be. There must be hands across the Atlantic Ocean. Yes, I come back to you with the blood of the slave in me, the blood of the Nigerian slave and the Ghanaian slave, the blood of the Cameroonian slave and the Congolese slave, the blood of the Togolese slave and the Benin slave. I come back over the water with the spirit of my ancestors to say that we are one African people. We are but one. And in order for us to overcome the oppression of white supremacy, in order for you here in South Africa to reclaim ownership of the vast resources of your country, we must first operate in a spirit of oneness. Because although apartheid fell in 1994, I would dare argue that what fell was not apartheid, but the illusion of the falling of apartheid. Brothers and sisters, when I read the South African Constitution, it bothers me to read that the Constitution of South Africa says South Africa belongs to everybody who lives in it. I know of no other country where a thief or an invader or a colonizer can come and steal and rob and then be welcome to stay as a member of the family. I never heard of that. What good is a flag and an anthem if we don't control the resources? What good is a vote in a democracy when the diamonds are not mine, the oil is not mine, the gold is not mine? Brothers and sisters, please don't fall for the illusion of European democracy. If voting could change your reality, voting would be illegal. In America, they have brainwashed us into worrying about who gets elected. Whether it's Donald Trump, whether it's Joe Biden, it doesn't matter. Because no matter who we vote for, the resources remain in the hands of the white power structure. One day, and it may not be tomorrow, it may be years from now, it may be decades from now, but there will have to be a second revolution in African soil to undo the mistakes of the first revolution. I would hate for any more blood to be shed. I would hate for you to have to go through what you went through in bringing about the demise of apartheid. But because of bad deals made by African people in secret rooms with white people, because of deals that were cut without your knowledge, the victories that we thought we got in South Africa, we did not get them. And so one day there has to be another revolution. Not just South Africa, but Nigeria. Not just Nigeria, but Ghana and the Congo, all over the continent. Because everything we won in war, we gave back in negotiations. Now, I dare say, as I speak with some of my brothers and sisters in South Africa, some of them like to step on the name of Madiba Nelson Mandela. I look at it a little differently. I do not put Nelson Mandela in a category with Barack Obama because young Nelson Mandela did fight for his people. Young Nelson Mandela was ready to give his life for his people. I understand the older Nelson Mandela was compromised. But I blame you more than him because we had no business taking an elder 27 years in prison and thinking he's going to pick up where he left off 27 years later. That was on us. We cannot have a cult of personality. No one man is greater than the community. No one woman is greater than the community. We have to get out of the mindset, the Jesus Christ mentality, not the religion, but the belief that one Savior is going to save all of Africa. No, the people will save South Africa. Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, I understand you all have an election next year. You have your EFF, you have your ANC, you have your DA, you have your various parties. But I dare say, sit down with each political party and ask them, what are you really going to change? We don't just need a voice. We need a party that's going to bring the resources back to the people. What good is getting a college education if you can't even get a job when you're done? What good is voting for a president when you look around and the Chinese have more control of South Africa than the South Africans? The East Indian has more control over South Africa than the South African. The European has more control over South Africa than the South African. I dare say, anyone who wants to represent the South African people must do three things. If I were a citizen here, I'm only voting under three conditions. Number one, what are you going to do to economically empower the brothers and sisters in South Africa so they can compete with the Chinese, the Asian, the Arab, the Anglo-Saxon for economic control of this country? If you're not going to give me economic opportunity, what good is my vote to you? You must give us economic opportunity, not just festivals, but opportunity. Because when the Chinese come to South Africa, he comes with a line of credit from China. Yes. When the Indian comes to South Africa, he comes with a line of credit from India. When a European comes to South Africa, he comes with a line of credit from Holland or England. So if we're going to compete and open up businesses, if we're going to open up shops, if we want to make our own computers, if we want to build our own cars, we need a line of credit to do that. And the racist apartheid banks of South Africa are not going to do that because they want to keep us on the bottom. So if you're not giving us economic opportunity, you too are keeping us on the bottom. Follow the money. Follow the resources. Number two, I'm only going to vote for you if you are absolutely committed to redistribution of the wealth of South Africa. Yes. Redistribution. Because what they have, they obtained unfairly. It does not belong to them. Yes. So unless you redistribute the wealth of South Africa, black South Africa will never get a chance to enjoy heaven in their own homeland. And thirdly, African people. The indigenous South African must be a protected category, not mixed in with no other group. I understand that they now lump Chinese in or Asians in with black people. How can you do that? Black is black. It's not brown. It's not yellow. It's not red. It's not white. Black is black. So until you treat the South African as separate and special from everyone else, until there is an advantage for me being in my own land above and beyond anybody else, don't you dare call me a participant in your democracy. Brothers and sisters, don't get caught up in the campaign chants. Don't get caught up in the campaign and political loyalties. Look long term at the vision of Africa. I want to say this. I believe that the world will never run the way the world is supposed to run until African people are back on top. We're the only people in human history who ever ran this planet with justice. The white man has been in charge for 500 years. He's never ruled with justice. The Chinese are incapable of ruling in justice. The East Indian can't rule in justice. Only the African can rule in justice, brothers and sisters. And because of that, I think that one day there will be a global African revolution. Not just South Africa, not just Congo, not just the United States, not just Brazil, not just Jamaica, but all of us are going to have to raise up and fight together as one race against all the other forces. Because you need to understand this. African people, we have no friends, brothers and sisters. Yes. We have no friends. In America, they try to sell us the Latino. In America, they try to sell us this multicultural vision of all non-white people being one people. That is a lie and a scam and a trap. Yes. Do not unite with the Chinese. They don't have your best interest. Do not unite with the Indian. They don't have your best interest. Do not unite with the Arab. They don't have your best interest. Brothers and sisters, hate nobody, but loyalty must be with yourself. I say this, and it's been 4 years since I've been on the continent, so my spirit is so full right now. So full. Last time was 2019. I was in Ghana for the year of return. In the past 4 years with COVID and trying to build the school we're working on and so much other stuff going on has kept me from the continent. So I'm just so full right now with love. I almost cried when y'all was singing earlier. But I want to say this. Anything I can do to benefit what you do, please let me know. You understand me? I'm going to give you my phone number. If you have your phone, take it out. I'm going to give you my direct phone number. You can add me on WhatsApp, reach out to me, talk to me, communicate with me. I want to come back to Soweto more and more. Yes. I need to get a house in Soweto so I can come whenever I want to come. You understand? And then I'm going to have to find me a wife in Soweto. My number, brothers and sisters, +1 is the code for America. +1 215 989 9858. 215-989-9858. Once more, +1 215 989 9858. When we're done here, if anybody would like to take a photo with Dr. Umar, we can do it. Just send it to me, please, through WhatsApp. And I want to say this to my elder. My expertise is psychology, education, political science. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology. I'm a certified school psychologist. I'm an educator. If there's anything I can do for the South African family, whether it's create a mental health system, as the Queen said, we got to heal, brothers and sisters. Too many of us are wounded warriors. You cannot fight the white man and be at war with yourself. Suicide in South Africa is up. Homicide, our young brothers killing each other from America to South Africa. That's pain, that's hurt, that's trauma. And if there's any way I can be a part of any mental health system to help our young people and older people heal from the tragedies and trials of life, make use of me. If we need to build an independent school in Soweto, the Steve Biko Academy, make use of me. The Chris Hani Academy, make use of me. Whatever we got to do, call on me to bring my expertise. And I'm not alone. We got armies of Pan-Africanists back home in America who are willing to come, and back home in the Caribbean who are willing to come, and back home in Canada and South America who are willing to come. But if anything I can do to help, I am part of the family. As Baba said, I'm not visiting home, I am home. Aman La! Mabuye! Africa! Thank you, brothers and sisters.
I'm Tetogas. I'm Tetogas. I'm Tetogas. I'm a aunt. I'm a aunt. I'm a aunt.
I think I'm not going to speak for myself, but speak for everyone to say when our brother spoke, he didn't speak alone. Ngiyalizwa idlozi ukuthi likhuphukile akusuye ayi-one. Kunengoma engiyithandayo ithi mina ngizenzanga ngayenza abaleke. Athi mina ngizenzanga ngayenza abaleke. So ngihawukele idlozi lami. We are in the spiritual war. If you know the song, I wish you can sing it and let him hear it, because as he was talking here, it was not just him, but the ancestors in him rose and spoke to us. If you listen to the frequency of his voice, you can tell this is him, these are the ancestors speaking through him, because he feels our pain. We are not alone. Wherever Africans are, they are feeling our pain. And I see some of the beads breaking, showing that the bondage is actually breaking.
Of course.
We have been bonded for so long that we need to break these shackles. What the song says is, whatever we're going through as a people, we ask the ancestors to please just bring it down a bit. Be with us so that we're not so angry that we cannot see what we are about to do. That we cannot see that we can also cause damage. If anything, give us knowledge, give us wisdom, open the path, and shine the light on where we are going to walk. As we do this work that we need to do as Africans throughout the continent. Like I said, as you spoke, you were not alone. The ancestors were with you. The ancestors were with you. And you've mentioned quite a lot, and there's so many questions in your speech that many of us have, but I'm going to bring them to only 4 questions. You said you were in Ethiopia. There's celebrations. We, on the South, are also about to celebrate Africa Day. And it's something that some of us have questioned. Some of us have embraced it. Some of us enjoy it. But we would like to know from you, what is your view on Africa Day? How do you see it? How do you explain it? How do you make sense of it?
African Liberation Day was founded, or started rather, back in I forget the exact year, somewhere between the independence of Ghana and the founding of the African Union to celebrate the African independence explosion across the continent. And so on Thursday, I was invited by the government of Ethiopia to come and keynote the African Liberation Day there. For me, African Liberation Day does not speak to the culmination of all the works we've done towards African emancipation globally, but it speaks to all the work that still needs to be done. We are not where we need to be. And I think too often as African people, we tend to take our foot off the gas. We tend to celebrate achievements that have not yet crystallized. We tend to honor agreements with non-African people that are never upheld. And I think that a lot of us have grown a little lazy, revolutionarily speaking, where we are content with superficial achievement, but not substantive changes. And when I look across the diaspora, I see too much superficial celebration and not enough substantive change. When I was in Aruba last month, in Bonaire, in Curaçao, the Dutch West Indies, it was announced that the King of Holland was going to apologize to Africans in the Dutch West Indies within the Caribbean for slavery. And I said, why are African people so content with receiving an apology for the worst human abuse in recorded history? Why can the white man just say sorry and everything is all right? The European Jews didn't let the Germans say sorry.
Yes.
They made them pay reparations, restitution. If they found a single Nazi, they were prosecuted and imprisoned. But when we come to South Africa, they gave us a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Just tell people what you did wrong during apartheid and you will go free. That's not acceptable. African blood is not cheap. And we have to stop letting people get away by playing to our humanity as African people. We are... Okay, you need that for the camera?
No.
I don't need it. Give me the sun. I'm And I'm a Leo, by the way. I'm a son of the Yes. But you know, it's funny because back home in America, you do have some of your American African brothers and sisters, not all, but a few, who don't like to be under the sun. Because the white man has convinced us that black is something evil, that black is something ugly, that black is something unattractive, which is ironic because when you go to court, the judge puts on a black robe. When you graduate, you put on a black robe. When you go to church, it's a black robe. So if black is evil and ugly, why do you use that color? To represent the greatest achievements in your society. Truth of the matter is that the white man, the brown man, the yellow man, they know that blackness is divinity. Blackness is our spiritual heritage. Don't be afraid to get dark. Melanin is a power, not just the color. This is not color. This is energy, brothers and sisters. And it is an energy that connects us to supreme consciousness. Sure, white people can pray, but nobody can pray like African people can pray. Chinese can meditate, but nobody can meditate like African people can meditate. Why? The melanin is a spiritual molecule that gives us a special relationship with Almighty God. Remember, every prophet of every religion was blue, black, purple. God never sent a white man as a savior. He never sent the yellow man as a savior. He never sent the brown man as a savior. Every savior was an African, including Jesus the Christ, who was born of the tribe of Judah, the blackest of the 12 tribes of Israel, who hid out in Egypt, land of the blacks. Every statue of Jesus, every coin of Jesus, every painting of Jesus, up until the incursion of the European, shown Jesus as a blue, black, purple African man. So we got to see divinity in ourselves, because I'll tell you, brothers and sisters, until we achieve psychological liberation, my field is psychology, the study of the mind. Until we know we are as good as everyone else, we will never be as good as everyone else. We have to admit that the white man has put into African people globally an inferiority complex. It's still with us. And until we kill the Caucasian living inside of us, until we exercise the white man inside of you, we will never be victorious over the white man outside of you. Black power.
I think I am going to ask Nkulunga on that note, because Sister Rosemary to respond.
Thank you so much, my brother. The inspiration we receive, from you. Just give our side of the story with regard to the 25th of May, the Africa Day. Normally here, this movement, we call it the Great Empire of Kemet, because we are reviving, that spirit of those kingdoms to rise again so that it unites us. So therefore, Africa was ruled by kingdoms that formed the Great Empire of Kemet. So therefore, the 25th, it was founded by people who had already accepted to preside over theft. Because when you are sitting as a president of a republic, you are representing, a theft. Because these republics were formed, and balkanized, our land to form these republics. So as much as we appreciate our fathers, but they put us back 1,000 years ago because the whole continent agreed to make the queen the head of the country. So therefore, we use this opportunity to educate African people never to celebrate the 25th. But it must remind us that we need to deal with the republics on the continent, because this is our main problem. We've allowed these republics to be alive this long. And as long as these republics are alive, a black person will never be free.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
whoever
Yes.
jumps onto that seat of a president,
Yes.
they are representing the colonizer and they are representing themselves
That's
and
right.
their families. So therefore, we don't celebrate it because it's like the last nail of on the coffin that we call the African kingdom or the Africa royalty, because royals were no longer responsible, royals were no longer regarded as the true leaders of us. With us as African people, you can't just emerge and say you are a leader if you are not from a royal house. So therefore, you have no mandate to stand there as a president because you are a subject of a king. So what needs to be given life again is the African, royal system, because it is our tried and tested, governing system. But we truly, truly appreciate so that, the word and the voice, that we are articulating can emerge with what we believe in.
Yes.
Another concept that, we don't believe in. We don't believe in Christianity, we don't believe in Jesus.
Yeah.
Why? Because we believe that the name Jesus replaced the true hero who is Heru. The son of Asa.
Yes.
So that is what we call all the time. And, even our calendar, we use a completely different calendar because white people gave us, their Western calendar. We are on the Southern Hemisphere. But all along Africa, the whole continent has been using this northern-based calendar. So therefore, we have always been misaligned. So there can never be a revolution moving forward until we realign with the natural flow of the energy on the Southern Hemisphere. And with that, like you were saying, my brother, the help we need is for you to assist us to amplify, so that we celebrate the African New Year as a collective of black people. Like the Chinese, what they do. When it's their New Year in China, it doesn't matter we are in London, we are wherever, but you celebrate with the people at home. So our real New Year here, it's on the 23rd of September. Why? Because it is the day of the spring equinox here on the Southern Hemisphere. So please help us to amplify that message so that we go to the oldest stone calendar in the world. It's here in South Africa. We call it Inzalo Yelang. So that should be our place of pilgrimage as African people. Our elder Ubabu Credo, who gave us all this knowledge, told us that that site is the most spiritual and the most holiest place on the continent. This is where the electromagnetic field of Earth, moves. He calls it the path of the gods. So this is where all of us, we should do the pilgrimage to go and revive the power of our ancestors in such places. Thank you so much, my brother.
Mkulu, and I hear the echoing of from everyone else, but then it will lead me to the question, where to from here? How do we unite as Africans? You said our brothers and sisters from New York, from California, from Alabama are greeting us. We greet them back. Siyathokoza. But I want to know, how do we get to that point where we can call on each other, where we can speak to each other and help each other to actually unite in the true sense that we teach each other about Africanism. We teach each other about the African calendar. We celebrate together worldwide on the 23rd of September.
It's powerful. Interesting too, Baba, because on September the 21st, I'm 2 days off, but on September the 21st, that's when I founded my organization, Team Pan-African. So it was interesting to be so close.
Yes.
But to your question, Queen, I believe that education and economics are the right and left foot of any liberation movement. And that's where we have to focus. A lot of the crime that we see in the African community, whether it's South Africa or the South Bronx, a lot of it is economically influenced. Desperation. A lot of the suicide is economically influenced. Desperation. And so I think that we have to look at how we can collaborate economically to empower each other. I can tell you this, those of us in the American African community, we are looking to invest in Africa in a transparent and in a systemic way. So for example, if it were possible for us to create some sort of a credit union, some sort of a bank, we would be able to invest in that bank, open up bank accounts from America, send the money to South Africa so that you all could build the institutions and the infrastructure necessary off the interest of the money. And then we could come and also invest with the money that has been accumulated. We are a $2 trillion people in America.
That's true.
We spend $30 billion on hair. We spend $2 billion on Air Jordan. We spend $4 billion on liquor. We spend $800 million on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork. Which brings me to another idea. Most of the food stuff that we buy in America is coming from the European. You have South African indigenous farmers.
Yes.
I'm wondering if there's a way for us to create some import-export where we buy directly from the brothers and sisters on the subsistence farms in South Africa. Whatever it is you have to sell, let us know. Let us find out how we can get it shipped to and from, and that's an economic opportunity there. Another idea, as I've already said, with the school, I'm very much interested in building a school here. I don't know what the laws are, what the barriers would be for an independent school. We don't need no government money, nothing. Okay, and there's probably an abandoned school in Soweto right now just sitting there. You know, how can we get our hands on one of them, you see? And then the third thing is we have to have a conference. I need y'all to set this up where we bring brothers and sisters from the West to South Africa, to Soweto even, and we sit and we talk about the different areas of African life that we need to unite around and empower. Let black men sit amongst black men from around the diaspora here in South Africa. Let the sisters sit amongst the sisters. As you know, in America, we have one of the highest infant mortality rates for our women. The babies are coming out dead. We think the white doctors are killing them because they don't want us there. Maybe in South Africa, you can teach the sisters the old traditional system of having children without the white man. You understand? So we have to have a conference. And I've already mentioned this, the Queen Mother's in LA, and I'm just hoping that all of you with Baba can put your heads together. Let's come up with a date. Let's come up with a week. Let's come up with a location. And we'll be here. And let's make it happen.
I think, the last one. Funny you should talk about mortality rate. We also have issues with our young men and women with fertility. Our people aren't falling pregnant the way they used to fall pregnant. And it's because of the food, it's because of
and the vaccinations.
So much,
be careful of the vaccinations.
and I spoke to a sister, I can't see her. Oh, there she is, Pam. I was explaining to her that on the continent, I'm one of the people who makes medicine. When I sent my medicine to Israel, they were asked just how many milligrams of cannabis or whatever herb you're talking about goes in here. And I said to her, it's because they will encourage you to register a patent with them. They will encourage you to divulge your secret stuff. But if you are saying we need to form an alliance, all of us here, as I said, we are healers and we heal in different ways. Some make beads, some make portraits, some write books. So it is so big that the economy could be run by all of us sitting right here. We don't need any other intervention.
Yes.
And all we need to do is get together, have a common understanding, and speak in one voice and speak one language. Time has run out. We have so many questions. And I would like to call on them committees.
Just you know, as a gesture of appreciation, your presence here. We have, you know, the calendar.
Yes, Baba.
But it's written in Zulu.
I need to learn Zulu, Baba. Teach me.
You need to, because there are prayers that we do there in the calendar. But you cannot do them in English.
Understood.
Because you are not invoking the necessary vibrational frequency. So it has to be your indigenous language.
All right.
We will teach you Zulu.
I need to know
Thank
Zulu.
you so much. Sure.
And my oldest daughter, who's 21, her middle name, Nkosazana.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Umar,
Yes, sir.
this is a gift
Thank you.
from Mkhulu Msingisa,
Thanks, Baba.
from Gogo
Wow.
Lina. It is a gift that we hope you are going to use
Absolutely.
when you go abroad and inform people the importance of the African.
And I will use it at the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey School as well.
So this is from Mkhulu Msingisa, Dr. Umar. Now the name. Are you moving from Johnson? Are you?
Yes, IFATUNDE.
Okay.
And I also have a South African name that was given to me in 2016. Not only did I do the national tour in 16, I did a group tour also. And during the group tour, one of the Sangomas did a name reading for everyone. And mine was Nkosi Mabutu.
Dr. Umar Ifatunde, the Kemet African Royal Calendar is the only practical instrument to unite Africans celebrating our true New Year like the Chinese. Signed by Mkhulu Msingisa.
Thanks. Thanks, Baba.
From ourselves, this is my sister.
Right.
Time for Africa is now.
Yes.
Join us, Dr. Umar, as we take our rightful place as the heads, not tails.
Yes.
Regards.
Give thanks. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much.